Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. All right, give me 1 second, y'all. I'm still getting set up. Going live on my iPad for the first time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Y'all give me 1 second. I'm still kind of getting set up. Let me see. Trying to figure out how to do. Okay. How to make. Okay, making it float. There we go. All right. Okay, I'm making them. I had to figure out how to. I'm still learning how to work the iPad. Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen. But I got trying to switch over from the laptop to iPad. It's a little bit more versatile as far as studies. MashaAllah ta'ala. A good evening. We are here again with another. Hey, Assalamu alaikum, Imam Abu Muhammad. We are here again with another live reading of AL-KAYFIYYAH from Sheikh Raid, fresh out of Cashville. So now I had to say that. Now he out of Philly. Alhamdulillah. He's one of the few brothers of Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah in Philly. Good Shafi'i Sheikh, and he is, I must stress, he's African American. He belongs to us. MashaAllah ta'ala. Alhamdulillah. Give me 1 second. Let me get all my shares on. And if y'all got a support scholarship, support young African American scholarship. This is something we want to normalize is African American scholarship. Inshallah ta'ala. One of these days, we're gonna switch it up a little bit, and we're gonna start going into the general topics. Inshallah, we're gonna make a shift from the classroom setting, if that makes sense. Okay, hold up, sharing to all my pages. But we're getting back into the whole discussion of the madhabi or the ahlul madhahib. I don't want to say versus, but up against or versus the ahlul salafiyya or the Salafi minhaj. Most people don't know the difference, and there is a difference, and most people don't know it. So this book is clarifying. For the most part, this book is going into detail per the Quran and the Sunnah. Okay, this tab is kind of small. I'm gonna try to work with it. They got the floating tab thing here on the iPad. First time I'm doing it, so y'all bear with me. I got in my beard. Okay, yeah, y'all bear with me. It's first time doing the floating tab thing, and the words are a little small, and I had to turn the tablet right side up because the camera is on the top. So when I had it, I got that little floating, the magic keyboard thing. The camera is on the side, so it was like somebody was on the side of me with a camera like this. It looked kind of weird. It might have zoned y'all out. I don't know. Y'all let me know if I'm not doing a good job. I know the Wahhabi's gonna let me know if I'm doing a good job or not. That we don't have to discuss. But yeah, this book is alhamdulillah. This book is very, very good. Highly recommend it. You can look for it on. You can Google it and order the book. It costs $27. And this is a great feat. Every generation, our scholars had, they had confronted the Salafi minhaj. Kufi is always crooked, man. I think my head might be crooked, man. But every and all of our generations, we've had the people confront what you call the Ahl Bid'ah. The Ahl Bid'ah is the people of Bid'ah, of innovation. And in every generation, we had our scholars confront the Ahl Bid'ah. There were different groups of innovation throughout the history of Islam. One second. On my last share on Instagram. Okay. Now we can start cooking with grease. But in every generation, we have had our scholars take care of the situation of the people of innovation. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. And Sheikh Raid out of Philly, his kunya is Abu Jannah, Hafidhullah. He also took up this feat, and that's what this book is. He's basically given the evidence of Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah, basically the 4 schools of thought and the 2/3, depending on who you're talking to, schools of Aqidah. I like to say 3 schools of Aqidah myself. The Hanabila have the Ash'ariyah, the Maturidiyya, and the Hanabila. The Hanabila has wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Sister Malika. The Hanabila have they have they have they have what you call it distinguished themselves as of lately, not lately like the last few years, but maybe in the last I want to say 200 to 300 years they've made themselves distinct. But the Hanbali school of Aqidah is very simple. The mutashabihat ayat, especially in reference to the sifatullah, the attributes of Allah, they let them come and they pass it through. They don't even interpret it at all. The Maturidiyya or the Maturidi scholars or the Ash'ari scholars chose to utilize the usul that we have drawn from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam of interpretation of ta'wil for which is called ta'wil of the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and and other obscure verses, mutashabihat verses. So with that being said, alhamdulillah, this book is very, very good. And in this part of the book, make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe. If you're on YouTube, subscribe. We're going to keep these type of videos coming, inshallah ta'ala. And if you're on the other pages, please like and share. Let's get the algorithm of Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah started. Or not started, but let's increase it. I don't think we'll ever win on the internet because the internet is, it's just straight kufr. It's rooted in kufr. So I don't think we'll ever win. But I would, just like in the world, I don't think we're going to win against like the Wahhabiyya, whatnot. We are the majority, but as far as the influences and the worldly arenas of life, like the internet and certain other mundane things, that's just not the space for Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah. The space for what my goal is to create spaces, bigger spaces for Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah, both inside and outside the masjid and on and off the internet. So like, share, and subscribe. Inshallah ta'ala, show some support. It don't cost you nothing. It ain't paying me at all. People don't like these type of videos, man. But it's out here, and we did the work, and inshallah ta'ala, people like myself who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has trusted to learn something don't have to be accountable. That's what this is all about. We doing our due diligence to society and putting our spin on it, inshallah ta'ala. So we're gonna get back into the book. And at this part of the book, the brother is attacking um, scholarly in a scholarly way, not in the way like the Salafi minhaj likes to do, where they just throw insults. Just keep a mind, take mental note of that, y'all. Anytime you get into it with a Salafi, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen because they're taught. That's the way Ibn Abdul Wahhab was, who was their founder, who was their leader. His style was, a negative, demeaning, disrespectful, bad character attack on the Muslims, on the majority of Muslims. That's the way. That was his whole tone, and you can hear that tone or see that tone in his writings. So, all of his students and his followers, they all picked up that type of style. Just like, I picked up some styles from the scholars that I follow as well. Malik was very, Imam Malik, rahimahumullah, he was very, very, very technical, known to be very technical. Imam Abu Hanifa was known to be a great debater. He was a great thinker, a great philosopher. He was known for these things. And, so you kind of inherit that, or you learn that when you reading their materials. Same difference with the Wahhabiyya. Their founder, their leader, their fake mujtahid, Ibn Abdul Wahhab and Nasiruddin al-Albani. And I'm working on a video, the first ever video treatise, or like I guess on YouTube or whatever. We're going to expose the lack of scholarship or the absence of scholarship of al-Albani. He's their biggest hammer, if you would say. That's their biggest weapon. When you destroy everything from their four imams, Fawzan, Madkhal, Bin Baz, and there's one more. I can't think of the other one. Somebody can tell me. Hassan Somali, whatever his name is. That's their four imams. And then they have Bin Baz, and they have Nasiruddin al-Albani. Those are the two big bosses. I've already done enough to destroy the first four, but not so much Hassan Somali, which is a modern guy. Not so much him, but he believes the same thing that the other three believe. So he go down in the fire too, so to speak. But yeah, I'm working on a video treatise on attacking the scholarship of al-Albani. It's going to be really, really good. So y'all stay tuned for that. It's kind of hard because Albani was a very, very sophisticated dude. Very, very, very sophisticated dude. So it's taking me a little time to pick apart his works of bid'ah. Okay, so when I said attacking, he's attacking it from an intellectual base, which should be this should be our approach. You gonna get into it with a Wahhabi. That's just, like I said, that's just gonna happen. They're gonna come at you crazy. That's bid'ah, brother. Don't do that, sister. You're supposed to be doing this. Fear Allah, sister. Oh, may your back be broken. Hey, anybody that engage these people, they know how they are. They're going to attack you, and you should be prepared. So books like this is written for that. The Salafi Minhaj has grown because we don't have books like this. So big kudos to Sheikh Rai. And inshallah ta'ala, I'm going to try to have him on the platform next Monday and have him, and inshallah ta'ala, we maybe do a question and answer, and y'all can get an opportunity to engage, with a scholar, especially a scholar that's from the community, inshallah ta'ala. Okay, so into the book. If I can drop a comment, drop a salam alaikum or something. Comments help algorithms, and of course, y'all know liking and sharing helps algorithms. So if you got time, just jump in the comment section and drop a salam alaikum. Say, hey, brother, your beard's long and looks nice, whatever. Something. Just drop me something. That way, we could support our own. That's what it's all about. It's all about supporting each other. I always tell people when all of my guys on both sides, with Masjid Muhammad, Imam Fahim, Imam Abu Amin, Imam Khalil, Ustad Saleh Hadul Majid. When we really the forefronts of at least in the African American community that's taking this fight down to the ground level where the people are. I'll jump on this stuff and salam alaikum. A lot of times I'll be busy. I'm always working. My hands ain't free. I'll be listening to the lectures or whatnot, but I can't really engage. But I'll be listening. I'll jump on there. Boom, salam alaikum. Hit a like. Boom, hit a share. Put it on my story. Something. Get the word out there. Support Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah. Support our efforts. And I'm gonna tell you from this side in, from this side out. Like it helps. A lot of times it get discouraging. It's like, man, people ain't trying to do right. We make these efforts. We taking notes. We studying for hours. We're consulting our shuyukh. We're consulting each other about certain matters before we take it to the public. And and this knowledge is public. We go through a lot on the back end of this before we get to the video and hit the go live button. We go through a whole lot. So that support means a lot. That shows us that there are people out there that want to learn. There are people out there who are concerned with the truth. It's just a must. I can't stress it enough. And we're not getting no money from YouTube. We ain't getting no money from Facebook or none of that. Like I said before, people don't like talking about stuff like this. This is not the hot type stuff. This hot is not the stuff that people like. People like reels and YouTube shorts and entertainment. But we're entertaining with education. I like to call it edutainment. So yeah, show some support. Don't be no hater. All right, let me see if I can make this thing better. And inshallah ta'ala, I'm going to deal with the comments at the end of the dars, and it won't be long. How can I make this thing bigger? I got it floating, but it's not as big as I need it to be. Nope, that's not what I need to do. Let's see. Uh-oh, I just took the whole thing out. Okay. Slide over. Oh, sorry, slide over. Split screen. Split. Let's split. Okay, there we go. All right. Topic. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Did the Prophet ﷺ and his companions follow schools? If not, then why should we? So this is the question that the Salafis will ask you. And it's a legitimate question. It has an answer. You have to accept it. For the question to be legit, you have to be able to be willing to accept the answer. But 99% out of the Salafis that I've met, they ask you that question facetiously. Okay, had to make it bigger. As for the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam himself, no, he did not follow a school. Rather, he was the Prophet, so the schools follow him. So remember that. First and foremost, the question of did the Prophet Muhammad alaihi salatu wasalam follow a school is illegit from that point of view. Okay? It's a legit query in your mind. It's like, okay, was the Prophet Muhammad a Maliki? Was the Prophet Muhammad a Hanafi? But in actuality, the question is not one of relevance because the schools follow the Prophet, not the other way around. This means that the schools use the hadiths of the Prophet ﷺ as evidence. However, sometimes they differ about the rulings at which they arrive in those hadiths, as well as from the Quran. This is why a better term than school of thought, as many may say, is school of law, because they deal with how to implement the Sharia, the Islamic law, with which the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam came, according to the legal opinions and qualified jurists, scholars, the fuqaha, the mujtahidun, etc. Therefore, Ahlul Sunnah believes that if someone follows any one of those madhabs, he would be guided by that. They respect the acceptable differences in the Sharia, the Islamic law, as validated by the Prophet Islam himself, as we shall see. And just as the companions and their students respected the different judgments given by other qualified mujtahidun among them, so, for example, although most scholars deem it invalid for a woman to give herself in marriage, they do not deem those who validate it, give a woman giving herself in marriage, as encouraging extramarital relationships out of respect for the valid ijtihad. So, well, that's one point. We'll cover some. We'll briefly speak about the examples of the differences at the end of this section. So as far as the companions, yes, they did indeed follow schools. However, if the Prophet ﷺ were available, they would ask him and get a definite answer. If not, they would ask a mujtahid among them, those who were qualified to deduce rules directly from the Quran and the Hadith. They sometimes differed in their answers, and then it would be permissible to follow any one of them. In essence, this is exactly the case of following the schools. However, the rulings of the companions were not preserved as completely as those of the imams of the four schools. Therefore, although we know some of the rulings and positions of Umar, Aisha, Ibn Abbas, rahmatullah alayhim, or radiallahu ta'ala anhum, excuse me, and other mujtahid companions, we cannot follow what would be their quote unquote schools because they were not documented and preserved. The same was done during the time of the Tabi'un, and the documentation of the schools started after that. Schools like the Imam Abu Hanifa, Shafi'i, had dedicated students who documented everything they said, studied their methods, and conveyed their schools to the next generation in a complete fashion. Had the schools of the companions reached us, we would follow them like we follow the floor. So in this first, Shigaraki gave us an example. Most of I think it's 3 out of the 4 schools agree that it's not valid for a woman to give herself away in marriage. But I think there's one school that does not agree with that. And but nobody of the imams invalidates the one scholar who said that it is valid, that it can be done out of respect. Like he said, they were scholars at the highest level. So when they give their fatwa, that was their ijtihad. That was their individual effort at a thing. So that's why we have the differences. And nobody has more differences than the Salafis. They actually have what we call the funky list. When if you're not following strictly what the regime in Saudi Arabia at the time puts out, then they warn against you. So none of the Salafis can accuse us of being Ahl Bid'ah for following the 4 schools, and each one of the 4 schools might say something different on a particular matter, which most matters that they've given fatwas on are matters of obscurity, or they learned it different from their different chains of transmission back to different sahabas, who one might have seen the Prophet ﷺ do something at one time early in life, and then he did something different at another time early in life. You might get 2 different narrations, but both of them are sound as long as we never learned that one was abrogated and the other was validated. So it can get technical about as far as the differences, and that knowledge is out there if anybody wants to dive into it. And when I say dive into it, not reading a pamphlet like the Salafis like to do that was written by one of their scholars, and then they come at you with the pamphlet, the conclusions of the pamphlet from one of their scholars. No, go and read the books. I even have a book written by Mufti Khandalawi, and it's called "The Differences of the Imams," and it's probably 150 some pages thick, showing the differences of the four schools and on some of the issues, and he's mentioning the usul, and it can't be argued. It absolutely positively cannot be argued. So we just accept the differences as differences. Nobody says that you have to pray 6 times a day. Nobody says that there's 2 months of holy fasting. Nobody says that you have to pay 10% in zakat. Nobody says that. So the foundations of the deen, we all clear on that. But there are some areas where things happen in one imam's time, and then it might have been something similar happened in another imam's time, and they gave different fatwa. And mind you, fatwas are just opinions. They're not to be disregarded, because a scholar's opinion is gold up to your opinion, because they know more than you. So that was the first point. Even though we have differences, we don't invalidate each other because of the differences. Secondly, we reiterate, the Prophet ﷺ was the one to be followed. So the schools are based off of the following of the Prophet ﷺ. They had the knowledge of the hadiths. They had the knowledge of the Quran. They had better access and better resources to the knowledge of the Quran and the hadiths than we do. We have no right to claim that we can't follow the four imams when the four imams had better access to the Prophet's companions. Because they lived in that time period, which is ironically called the time period of the Salaf. This is the time period of the Salaf. They came in the time period of what we like to call the Khalaf, and then that time period of the Salaf was existed. And so it wouldn't be appropriate for us to think and believe that that we would know something that they don't know, because they lived in that time and they had teachers that were directly connected with the Sahaba, the companions of the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. The third point that he made was the schools were not necessarily preserved in the time of the companions. The people might ask why. Because the Sunnah is alive. The Sunnah never died. It is alive. So when they had so many companions alive and their students or their successors, their tabi'een, they could go to Umar, they can go to Aisha, they can go to Abu Bakr when he was alive. They can go to Musa al-Ansari. They can go to all of the big people and talk to him and engage with him, and then go back and say, I talked to Abu Musa al-Ashari, or I talked to Ja'far, whichever companion or tabi'in it might have been. They actually talked to him. They still had a living system. So it wasn't the first thing on their minds. The second, to like write it down and document it or whatnot. The second reason is uh, the Sunnah was so widespread because the Sahaba was so many, and there were so many Mujtahid Sahaba, and they spread all throughout the Islamic world, and they passed on what they learned to their successors, which was the Tabi'in, and it just spread everywhere. So, like I said at the beginning, the Sunnah was alive. It was alive and kicking. It was alive. So, it's everywhere. So this is why we have Muslim countries to this day. It's because of the spreading of the Sunnah, the living Sunnah. Yeah. So it wasn't a big need. They did codify and write certain things down, but the Sunnah was passed down and through a living oral transmission, first and foremost. So that was preserved just in that particular manner. Lastly, when it began to become documented in the time of the four Imams, Abu Hanifa, Malik, Shafi'i, and Ahmad, there were others. Nobody says that, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in his right, chose to preserve those four and not the rest. So that's not an argument that can be made. In that time period, they were dealing with a whole lot more fitna and a whole lot of more innovation than the time periods before them. So it became a need and a necessary need to document um, their particular schools. Now, at that point, we must understand what's been documented. What's been documented is the actual things that the four imams learned from the tabi'in and the tabi'in, who were the direct students of the Sahaba. And evidence of the haq, the truth of what was documented is, I think, I forget, one of our scholars put a percentage to it. I think it was 86% or 90 something percent. Maybe Imam Abu Muhammad knows. But our scholars have done an assessment of the differences that exist between the four imams, and it's in like the high 80 percentile or the 90th percentile. They only disagreed on a very, very small amount of things. So to get the four imams, to which most of them didn't, well, I guess some didn't know each other, but Malik didn't know Ahmad, not to my knowledge, and Ahmad did not know Abu Hanifa. Ahmad knew Shafi'i, and Shafi'i I don't think ever met Abu Hanifa. Imam Malik and Abu Hanifa met each other, but through the testification of their students, the writings of their students, and you could see that they, even though they all never really sat down and discourse with each other, that the body of material that came out, it was the same. It was all the same stuff, and we can't get humans to agree on nothing, especially religion. We can't agree on what restaurant we're gonna go out to eat after Jumu'ah. One person wants this halal chicken, and then halal chili, and then halal Chinese. We don't know. We can't agree on nothing. But to get some people to agree on the most important thing, which is religion, the thing that you give yourself to, and to give your life to, give your heart to, give your soul to, you can get those people to agree on that. So the fact that they were able to agree, you can see the majority of their work was in agreement, is a testification to the truth that came out of that transmission from the tabi'in and the tabi'in, and ultimately through the Sahaba, and through the Sahaba to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This system is called a mutawatir. You can't deny it. You absolutely positively cannot deny that system. If you deny that system, you put your iman in trouble. You put your iman in lingo. Now that is what we call following the Quran, the Sunnah, according to the way of the Sahaba. That's literally, so when the Salafi Minhaj people say, hey, follow Quran and Sunnah according to the way of the Prophet and the Sahaba, that's what we're doing. The four Imams are the ones that own the chains of transmission. There ain't not one Salafi scholar that has a chain of transmission that goes back to the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Not one of them. Bin Baz doesn't have one. Albani doesn't have one. Ibn Abdul Wahhab doesn't have one. His father has one. His brother has one, but they don't want to follow the father and the brother. That makes no sense. The Ummah at large certified, wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. The Ummah at large certified his father and his brother. They were influential. Nobody disagreed with them. They were, everybody agreed on them. But when his brother came and the son came, Ibn Abdul Wahab, and he brought all these brand new ideas that his father never heard of, and his father is an actual sheikh in the Hanbali Madhhab. Hence, there was a famous Hanbali scholar that wrote a book called the Tabaqatul Hanabila, and he put the chains of the Hanabila back to Imam Ahmad in that book, and none of the Salafi scholars are in that book. They all claim to be Hanbali and fiqh, but not one of their scholars is in that book. And it was a scholar who wrote that book, a scholar that has ijazat from every different angle that you can think of. Ibn Abdul Wahhab, Bin Baz, Nasiruddin al-Albani, none of them dudes are in that book. So that tells you something. They own school of scholarship doesn't even claim them. Why would you claim somebody that their own school rejects? Makes no sense whatsoever. So, Salam alaikum, Sister Malika. So, uh, we are the ones who actually own all of the chains of transmission, the scholars, one from another, that go all the way back to the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. We are the ones that own that. That is the way that we learn our deen. Our deen is transmitted. Our deen is not just pick up the Quran and pick up the Hadith and then you look at it and you read it and then you make it make sense to your own self. No, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said the Prophet sallallahu, sallallahu alaihi wasallam does not speak from his own desire. So everything that he said in the Quran, everything that he said as a hadith, that was wahi, that was revelation to him. And we must certify and ascertain that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was truthful in every respect, in every matter, or we don't have no deen. We don't have a deen. So there's no such thing as following the Quran and Sunnah yourself. Go straight to the Quran, go straight to the Hadith. There's no such thing as that. You have to consult the scholars. You have to, because you don't know if you're right or if you're wrong. And if you believe that you can go to the Quran and you can go to the Hadith on your own, then you are arrogant. You have kibr in your heart. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said about the arrogant person that it'll be like trying to stick a camel through the eye of a needle. You never get Jannah. You never get Jannah. Well, you'll get Jannah if you're a Muslim, but you're gonna go to the hellfire. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from having kibr in our heart. Ameen. Allahumma ameen. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from not instantly going to Jannah. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala not allow anybody that's watching this live stream or seeing this live stream and that's learning these Sunnah concepts. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala never allow us to see the fire or be anywhere near it. Ameen. Allahumma ameen. All right, so going forward, the Salafi might ask you, do you have evidence for following the schools? Clear evidence from the incidents that took place between the companions at the time of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is what Bukhari narrated from the route of Ibn Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu. From the route of Ibn Umar, when he returned from battle against the united parties, the Ahzab, the Prophet ﷺ said to us, no one prays Asr until reaching Bani Qurayda. So some of them were en route when the Asr prayer came in. Some said, we do not pray until we get there. Some of them said, no, we should pray. That is not what he wanted from us. That was the latter mentioned to the Prophet. So that was the latter mentioned to the Prophet, and he did not scald any one of them. Here, some of the Mujtahid companions delayed because they understood the Prophet's apparent expression as an emphatic command to rush there. Others prayed because they did not understand this command as an exception to the established timing of the prayers, but that rather the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was telling them to rush to their destination so that they pray on time there. Had their difference been unacceptable, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam would have scolded those who disobeyed him, because he sallallahu alaihi wasallam does not remain silent in the face of sins. This difference between the companions is the exact difference between the schools, the four schools. Some understood a hadith one way, while understood the hadith another way. Some referred to a hadith, while others did not confirm its authenticity, etc. But most importantly, all of those mujtahids were qualified. This is why the true imams say that they differ. My peers are incorrect, but they could be possibly correct. And I am correct, but I could be possibly incorrect, end quote. This is how to respect the differences between the valid schools. Thus, Ahlus Sunnah, unlike the Wahhabis, follow the companions in their practice of taqlid, fellowship or mimicking of scholars and following the schools. As a result, they did not tamper with the rules of the religion. So, uh, that's the last part of this lesson. Um, that last part was evidence from the time of the Prophet, alayhi salatu wasalam. Number one, that there were mujtahid imams, there were leaders from amongst the Sahaba. So there were some that were followers of the other companions while the Prophet ﷺ was alive. So they always try to tell you, "Oh, you're a blind follower. You're blind following." They'll scare you with nicknames. I mean, with bad names, and they'll make you feel real bad and make you feel like you're doing something completely and totally haram. And that's not the case. That's not the case when you're following the four schools. You're imitating the greatest people of all. If you're not allowed to imitate anybody, then none of the Salafis should have an imam because they imitate their imams. They go and ask questions to their imams, and their imams give them an answer, and they take the answer. If we're not allowed to do taqlid, then that means that every Salafi person is a mujtahid, a scholar in the highest right. And we see here that per a hadith, an authentic hadith, a sahih hadith, so we're allowed to, this is allowed to be a pillar in our belief, in our aqidah, because this hadith is sahih, is authentic. We see here that first, like I said, there were mujtahid imams. Second, we can see that there were mukallidun, people who followed and imitated other knowledgeable, more knowledgeable Sahaba. And then we also see, as a lesson in this hadith, that there were different interpretations. Some people took it, some of the Sahaba took it literally, and some of the Sahaba took it figuratively. So we have the evidence for both. We have the evidence for tafweed, and we have the evidence for ta'wil. Of course, this is not dealing with an obscure matter. This is dealing with, but those are the same practices, just confirming, what was clearly apparent, what the Prophet ﷺ said do, and then there's some people who interpreted what the Prophet ﷺ said. Some imams interpreted from amongst the Prophet's time, mind you. They interpreted what the Prophet ﷺ said. They had an usul. And the Prophet ﷺ, another lesson, the Prophet ﷺ gave the command to those imams from amongst those Sahaba. He gave that command. He gave them the permission to do ijtihad. He gave them the permission. So the Prophet ﷺ would never condone and never teach something that was incorrect. So that means that the usul was learned, because the Prophet ﷺ gave them the permission. He trusted that he trusted the fact that they could be trusted with his usul, with his method of reasoning to understand his command. And then lastly, we could also see that one group prayed, one group didn't pray. So we see that they differed. And nobody killed each other. Nobody made takfir. Nobody said the other one was not a Muslim. Nobody said the other one was a mubaddi'. Nobody said they was an innovator. Nobody said none of that. They agreed to disagree. They made peace with it, and they took it back to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he certified both of them. So this is evidence that we're allowed to follow the four imams. This is clear and concise evidence. The Salafi people always say, "What's your dalil, brother? What's your dalil?" Boom, dalil. But their books are not written this way because they're not pulling from the authentic knowledge. They have a Quran, they have a hadith set. Jews and Christians have Qurans and hadiths. So that don't mean nothing because you own a Quran, because you own a hadith set. That means nothing. They're not pulling from the traditional method of learning. They're not eating out of, they're not drinking out of the traditional well of knowledge. So they miss these types of lessons. They stuck in the dividing pamphlets of Bin Baz and Ibn Abdul Wahab and Al-Albani. They stay stuck in those pamphlets that they wrote against Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah, and they have been blinded from the actual true knowledge that has been pulled from the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It has been passed down from the time of the Prophet alaihi salatu wasallam. They all the Salafi Minhaj people, they all believe the same thing. They all follow the same stuff. So they can't claim this hadith. I'm pretty sure Al-Albani probably made this hadith da'if. Wallahu alam. I'm pretty sure he made this hadith da'if and not to be followed, as he did with a lot of hadiths wrongly. They don't have this. We have this sunnah in this hadith. We have the four schools, and we all disagree on certain matters. And we all agree that we're allowed to disagree. And none of us denigrate the other. We have that living, that is a hadith, that's a living sunnah amongst the people of the majority of the people, the Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah. We have that. They don't have it. They have, oh, if you don't follow what Bin Baz said, you're kafir. If you don't follow what Ibn Abdul Wahab said, you're kafir. If you don't follow what Al-Albani said, you're kafir. That's what they have. They don't have this acceptance and this tolerance. That acceptance and tolerance within the bounds of haqq is mercy. All of us are not the same. All of us don't come from the same back. None of us come from the same backgrounds. None of us don't come from the same backgrounds in our own communities and in our own tribes. We're all different and individual people and have different situations. So the Islamic law is malleable. It doesn't break. It doesn't even bend. It's malleable. In wisdom, it's malleable. It fits each and every person accordingly. It's not so hard and so harsh to where you're looking at one particular hadith and it's saying something, and there's an aspect inside of your life where that hadith is contradicting this thing in your life. You're like, oh, I can't be a Muslim. I can't be a Muslim. This is why the Wahhabi Minhaj will never spread around the world. It's spread in certain parts where they succeeded in brainwashing everybody, but you'll never see the majority of the world being Wahhabis. The majority of the world is Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah. The majority of the world is Maliki, Hanafi, Shafi'i, and Hanbali. And you got a very, very, very small percentage, maybe like even 1% of the world are Wahhabis, but they own the internet because they made a deal with America via way back to Ibn Abdul Wahab. Nobody knew that Ibn Abdul Wahab was a British agent. Nobody knows that. So I'm gonna do a treatise on Ibn Abdul Wahab as well, but he's easier to disprove than Al-Albani, because Al-Albani he didn't kill Muslims. Ibn Abdul Wahab is a little easier because he killed Muslims. So don't nobody want to get involved in that type of negativity. But Al-Albani is a lot more influential in the Wahhabi sect because he was scholastic. He was a smart dude. Don't get me wrong. He was everybody who has done a report on him said that he was an autodidact. So he was definitely a smart guy. He was a smart guy. He's a sophisticated dude. He's just sadly mistaken that he was a mujtahid. Okay, the next lesson on this series is who are the Ash'ariyah and who are the Maturidiyya. And this one's gonna get very technical and it's gonna go a little bit deep. This is my favorite part of this book, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, because we do so much fighting and that we never really I ain't gonna say we never really, but we get distracted from learning. We get distracted from learning because we're doing so much fighting. And some people say I'm Ash'ari, some people say I'm Maturidi. And at one point, I was one of those people. I was always taught that at my early Islam, I was just taught Maturidi beliefs. We didn't have any Wahhabis bothering us. And then when I became Maliki, I was just taught the Ash'ari beliefs. Um, and, you know, I was like, I'm Ash'ari, you know, or whatever. But I didn't really go too deep. I was just kind of learning piecemeal. I didn't go too deep because I didn't feel threatened or challenged. But when I started to feel threatened and challenged, it made me go a little bit deeper. So that's why that's my favorite part of the book, because we kind of, when we are rightly guided, we kind of get stuck in fiqh. We don't really become masters in aqidah, or we don't really try to master aqidah. We get stuck in our daily acts of worship, which is cool. But remember, Imam Ghazali, rahimahumullah, he said, if you don't know who you're worshiping, then how could your worshiping be valid? Where is your worship going? Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Okay, questions, comments, concerns. Sister Leah Wilkerson, good to see you in class again. Alhamdulillah, I tell my wife about you all the time. I'm like, man, Sister Leah and Camila, man, y'all was always front and center when I was teaching at the masjid. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Didn't miss any class. And Jennifer and Sister Jen. Not Shaky Smile's wife, the other Jennifer. Y'all three was the first. It was always the first one in the class, the last ones to leave. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. I'm good to see you. Good to see you here again, sis. What's up? We getting ready to get it popping too, inshallah ta'ala. Y'all make dua for me, because I'm thinking about opening up the first masjid for based on Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah in the African American community. So right now, like in Cincinnati and a lot of other cities, you just have our immigrant brothers and sisters opening a masajid, and and you know, everybody is just kind of stuck with going to those masajid because, you know, Americans are not born Muslims like the Pakistanis or like the West Africans. They're not born Muslims, and we don't come from Muslim countries. So, you know, we have a lack of American scholarship, number one, and number two, we have a lack of African American scholarships. So there's a need. There's a strong need, just for the simple fact that we're different peoples. The Pakistanis and the Arab are different from each other, and they all have their own masajid. And like the American people, especially the African American people, we get stuck going to either masjid. You either go to the Hanafi Pakistani masjid, or you go to the Maliki or Shafi'i Arab masjid, which is cool as far as fiqh, but as far as culture, it's not cool, because we don't, you know, the cultures are different. Like my beloved sheikh, who is like my dad, Ayub Muhammad al-Hansbai, rahimahumullah. He told me to my face. He said, "It's not me that'll be able to teach you and your people Islam, or bring your people to Islam." He said, "I could teach you Islam, but I can't bring your people to Islam." He said, "I look funny and I talk funny." Uh, so that kind of woke me up a little bit. You know, it didn't set in until maybe last year, and he said that to me probably 12 years ago, something like that. But I brought that up to say, one time when I was in prison, we brought a 50 matter to him about child support. Black people have a bad, like African American people have a bad relationship with the United States system of child support. They have a very, 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 very toxic, unsuccessful, uh, um, illogical problem in the African American community of child support. The system does not work. The system is badly broken and shattered into pieces. And we brought this to him, and all of us was like, you know, our ears were big. We was listening because we all got baby mamas. All of us do. It's just the reality uh, of the situation. And he didn't even know what we were talking about. Like it was me that had to translate. He spoke English, But I had to translate to him what child support was. He didn't know. SubhanAllah, he didn't know. Whoa, bird this one. So I said that to say that as an example, we have to have masajid in every, everywhere we possibly can. When you look at Egypt and countries like that, they got masajid. Just like we got churches here on every corner. We should have masajid on so many corners, and we should have people leading those masajid who have been trained to understand the Quran and the Sunnah and can effectively apply the Quran and the Sunnah according to the culture of the people that is being led. We're losing so many African American Muslims, and we're not gaining so many African American Muslims for the simple fact that we're being led by people who do not understand our culture. They know the Quran through inside and out, but where what Quranic ayah or hadith or fatwa or whatever would apply to the African American situation of child support. Like there has never been a conversation about it. Never. Ever, 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 ever. And it's destroying. These are a lot of the people who, like myself, who are coming into Islam. Those situations are going uncared for, and since that Islam is not serving that epoch of people, quote unquote, appropriately, so brothers are leaving. Brothers are not getting married. I know so many brothers that worked hard to get out of the streets, can't find a Muslim wife, so they go back to Taniqua. And as soon as they go back to Taniqua, his personal life is going to be, lauded with all of the stuff that come with Tamika. No offense to all the Tamikas out there. And Tamika, we invite you to Islam. Well, yeah, we have these problems. So, inshallah, y'all make dua that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives me the tawfiq to accomplish this. And I want to brand, streamline, an African American Ahlus Sunnah brand of masajid all across the country. Inshallah ta'ala. I find that this is, a big, big, big problem that has to be reconciled. And I see this as a problem as I've traveled throughout the country. We have this problem everywhere. Everywhere. So inshallah ta'ala, Sister Leah, we're going to be needing your services again. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Sister Malika said, because they are not recognized as a mujtahid, a faqih, or anything they have. No, it's not. And most are autodidact at best. And most importantly, incorrect aqidah. Man, y'all be letting Sister Malika Muhammad outwork y'all. She be dogging y'all in these comments, man. She be dog, but she's advanced though. She been with Imam Amin and them for a while, so she's advanced. Okay, I don't see any questions. Sister Malika said the Wahhabis teach the West that there is no culture in Islam, when in fact Islam was built respecting different tribes. Allahu Alam. Yeah, let's sidebar about that for a minute. She said America. Hey, Levon Turner, Assalamu alaikum. So let's talk about that for a second. Neela Hadia Burns. Assalamu alaikum, sister. Let's talk about that for a second. The Wahhabis teaching people that there is no culture. This is 100% wrong. This is 100% wrong. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us in the Quran, He made us different tribes so that we can know, we can benefit from each other. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala established the differences between the people. لِتَعَارَفُوا, so that we could know each other. And the scholar said that knowing is taking benefit. The Mufassirun, we could take different benefits from different peoples. I look at it like this. Let's look at it like this. When you say you have a factory, you have different departments in that particular factory that all produce different products for the brand. The world is a factory, and the different countries and continents of the earth are different departments in that factory, i.e., the world. And different people in those different countries / departments have special qualities about themselves. There are even parts, there are certain fruits that only grow in certain parts of the planet. At one point in time, it was the Chinese who was cranking out paper left and right. Even though I've seen some theories that said that the Muslims were the first people who created paper. The Chinese became vehemently known for paper. They were the ones were responsible for the export of paper, and look how great paper has become nowadays. So my point, look at the history with India and tea. Look at the history with Africa and coffee at one point in time. Different products, different times, and whatnot. Here in America, cotton, ironically. Cotton. America became the superpower that it is today. Excuse me. America became the superpower that it is today because they were able to mass produce cotton on a level that nobody else in the world was able to do it. And at that time, cotton was being used for all different types of designs for clothes and all that stuff, which was the new technology at that time. So I said all that to say, every peoples have a different something that they contribute to the whole of the worldly society. We can't delegitimize ourselves as a people. I am not Saudi. I am not Kuwaiti. I am not well, that's the only places the Wahhabis really exist. Everybody else is just imitating them. I don't come from that. And you for sure, if there's one culture, then show me, Mr. and Mrs. Wahhabi, show me one of y'all's imams dressing like us, dressing like African American people would dress, and all of y'all dress like African American people dress. Y'all don't even believe that stuff, because I'm gonna tell you right now, the one things that the Wahhabis got right was that dress. The sisters on Eid, on the Wahhabi Eid, man, them sisters be shy. They be shy. Sister Khadija's closet in them. Man, I spend money with them. Alhamdulillah. They got that right. They got the Islamic drip down pack. You don't see no Wahhabis. If y'all culture is one, then how come y'all cultures don't look like the Wahhabis? The brothers be showing up with they got the gurta, but they got the gangster gurta though. They got the joint that, they don't got to hang it down. Some of them be having to hang it down, and then it be cocked to the side how we do. That's how we do. But then they roll it up and make the 3 lines or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And then the brothers be having the socks. The sock game be crazy up there, some of the, they got all the different styles of the jalabiyas. Y'all not looking like them Saudi Wahhabis. Y'all not looking like them, and they not looking like y'all if that was the truth. You're allowed to be who you are. Ain't nothing in Islam said that you can't have your own culture. Islam just shows you, true wisdom is that Islam shows you how to be in your own culture. How to be in your own culture. You just can't. The only rule about clothes is you can't walk around naked. That's the only rule in all of the fiqh. That's it. You got to cover what the Islamic law says is for nakedness. You can wear all the types of styles or whatnot. You shouldn't get extravagant. That's one of the rules, but that's another conversation for another day. But we're allowed to wear our clothes and whatever clothes that we then they always say, you got to imitate, you can't imitate the disbelievers, you can't imitate, you got to imitate the Muslims. Well, I'm gonna tell you this right now, Y'all don't believe in following logic, but logic tells you most of the Muslims in the whole entire world wear pants and ball caps and t-shirts. Most of them. So are we really imitating? If most of the Muslims dressed in normal American clothes or whatnot, would we really be imitating the kuffar? Nope. And I heard my Sheikh Ayub Muhammad say that. So, and he was Indian. And wallahi ta'ala, out of the 8 or 9, 10 years that I was with him, 2007, 2017, I was with him for 15 years. What's this year? 23? Yeah, 14. I was with Sheikh Ayub for 13, 14 years. I seen him wear pants, jeans twice. I seen him wear jeans twice. And he told me that. SubhanAllah. Absolutely. Yeah, we have to clarify, y'all, so that we don't get shadow banned. It stands for Ku Klux Klan, for all of the Muslim agents out there that would turn me in as an extremist. Sister Malika said that I think my advantage is that I was a hardcore Salafi for years, an extremist, and Allah Ta'ala placed me amongst the authentic scholars of the Sunnah. Allah Ta'ala gives his deen in stages, and I am truly grateful. Yeah, me and my wife was just talking about that. وَالَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْعِلْمَ دَرَجَاتٍ. Allah gives the knowledge to the people in stages and levels. Assalamu alaikum, Anthony Morel. Who said that? I got most of my clothes from. Oh, Sister Malika, are you bougie then? Because our prices done went up since the first time I got married. Your whole closet from Khadijah's closet, huh? Oh, you fancy, huh? SubhanAllah. Abu Ubaidullah, he said 35 countries in the Americas, over 500 Aboriginal American Indian tribes in the Americas that were exposed to Islam. This is proven through family genealogy, which is very important. This doesn't get talked about enough, unfortunately, in our Aboriginal American communities. That's 100% fact, my brother. That is 100% fact. Thank you for that comment. Sheikh Mukbil, that's who it was. Malika, thank you. See, she shot. Sheikh Mukbil, that was the fourth I was wanting to talk about. Sheikh Mukbil, I knew it was, yeah. Mukbil bin Baz, Fawzan, and Mukbil bin Baz, Fawzan, and who else? What's the other one? Mukbil bin Baz, Fawzan. I can't think of who was the last one. But Mukbil was the one that I was forgetting from earlier. Uthaymin. Malika, you shot. When are you gonna start teaching the women, Malika? We all the guys all the time always talk about that. We like, man, Sister Malika need to have her own classes for the sisters. Teaching them Aqidah. You should have a women's Aqidah class. You could do it on my platform. I know when Nyla asked you to Nyla asked you, I think 2 years ago, I guess. She said you don't like being on camera. Well, look, let me show you. Allah Ta'ala is most merciful. Allah Ta'ala is most merciful. Let me show you something. Bloop. You don't have to be on camera. You could teach the sisters just like this. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Look at Allah. Won't he do it? Look at Allah. Won't he do it? Alhamdulillah. Now you need to, hey sis, I'm dead serious, man. You need to do an Aqidah class for sisters. That'll be huge because the sisters are leading the way for da'wah right now. Alhamdulillah, that'll be huge. That'll be really, 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 really huge. I think so. And I think if you just turn that thing on and just let it rock and just do you. I know she said that you were shy. I'm gonna tell you something that Sheikh Ayub told me. He said you really should be shy. Not saying this about you, but he was just giving me some nasiha. He was saying you should not be shy because this is ibadah. It doesn't matter what the people say, what the people think, whatever. All you do is convey the knowledge. That's it. If you sincere and you real about it, nothing that nobody could say or would say would bother you or deter you, because this is ibadah. This is da'wah. This is da'wah for Allah. And you know our people need it. You know, because of the tragedy that just recently struck your family, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala preserve you and give you strength and heal your family. For that reason alone, my dear sister, what you dealing with, that tragedy that you are dealing with, you know, I used to be a part of that life, and you know, I've been watching it destroy me, my family, and my people for so long. I'm fed up and I'm tired of it, and this is my contribution towards stopping that. So you might be at the level that you're going to be questioned, that you might be questioned. I'm a student for life, but I'll think about it. Of course, we all students. You'll never not be a student. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, if you learn just one ayah from me, convey it. He made the bar that low. Just one ayah. Just one ayah. And it's rare. It's rare. I mean, between you and Nyla, you know, my wife, I don't know anybody more tough. I don't know anybody more tough. I think it'd be dope if the two of y'all, you know, did a sisters Akida. Because I mean, y'all still kind of do it in y'all sisters group, but I'm talking about like in the form and fashion of the video I'm doing now, like an instruction, a book, and coming straight out of that book and giving the instruction, inshallah ta'ala. She said, Imam Amin just said that today. Convey just from me one ayah. La ilaha illallah. You got to put in the work. You know how we roll around here. You got to put in the work. You got to put in the work. Sound like Ubaydullah. That's a good name. It's a really good name. Ubaydullah. Sound like, I'm sorry, sis, I just seen you on here. I don't know if you was on here before, but we getting ready to wrap up. I think my supper is calling me. I love y'all for the sake of Allah. Anything that I said wrong, it does not belong to Islam. It does not belong to the Prophet Sallallahu. Well, Islam, the Prophet, all of that's included. I'm gonna stop saying all that. It doesn't belong to Islam or my teachers. It's my shortcoming, and I'm open to anybody, you know, giving me ideas, correct anything that I might have said wrong, so that I can correct it publicly, since I'm speaking publicly if I say anything wrong. Except if you're a Wahhabi. Don't come, because you're going to get lit up. I'm out of here. So I said, there's a great book that I received on Ijaza from Sulaiman Tawfiq, The Ladders to Success. That would be a great book to teach. Come on with it. Come on with it. We need it. We need it. We really need to hear from, quote unquote, our people. We need to. We need to. Let's put our spin on this thing. And the one thing I learned about, you know, teaching, whatever it is that you know, this is the best type of dhikr. Not the best, because you know the best dhikr is when you by yourself and you mix in the sciences. But that the next best dhikr is when you're teaching it. And Sheikh Ayub used to always tell me, if you cannot teach it, then you have not learned it. If you cannot teach it, then you have not learned it. And all of us have kids. So what are we not teaching that we haven't learned? Let that sink in. Assalamu alaikum, Imam Khalil. See what I'm saying? Like, people support. I know this brother busy. I know he busy. Hop in, boom. Assalamu alaikum, what's going on, brother? He might leave it on for a little second, let it rock, make sure that I get a view. That's what we have to do, y'all. That's what we have to do. We got to support each other. We gotta support each other. What's going on, brother Imam? It's about time for you to come back on here, man. I love calling people out and get some of that knowledge. Alhamdulillah, rabbil alameen. Okay, y'all. I'm going to go get my supper. I love y'all for the sake of Allah. Oh, before I leave, I think I'm gonna switch Wednesdays. Absolutely, sis. I think I'm gonna switch Wednesdays to. I want to reopen the series I started probably like 7 years ago, and it's been popular. I just had to take some time to myself for a little bit. Uh, see, I'm getting warnings. The Facebook user is Nyla. That's my wife. It doesn't show up. Some weird disconnection on this thing. I can see it like on my phone. I can see the people or whatever, but whatever. But I'm gonna bring back the series called Hadiths for the Hood, where we be giving dawah and tabligh to the people. Oh, it's Maghrib time. We be giving dawah to the people and doing tabligh for the brothers who are just hanging on the edge. So I had a series called Hadiths for the Hood. I'm gonna bring that back on Wednesdays, and I think Fridays I'm gonna leave that for Aqidah and Fiqh, because we got to do the dawah. We have to do the dawah, and a lot of people, I'm from the neighborhood, so a lot of people that tune in when they see Abdul Kabir Muhammad is going live, they see their partner going live, and they'll jump in. But then we talking about where is Allah and does Allah exist in a place and all that. That's like way far past their minds. So I can't forget about the dawah. I can't forget about the people, and that's what this is all about. We gotta build amongst each other and become strong leaders, and pull in those innocent souls that nobody took the time to care for. So Wednesdays, inshallah ta'ala, I think I'm gonna bring back hadiths for the hood, and then I'm gonna switch Fridays back to Aqidah first, and then Fiqh after that, maybe like 15, 20 minutes each, and then we'll do 20 minutes for some type of discussion. So if anybody got questions or whatever, y'all can submit them on the page, the True Aqidah of the Salaf on Facebook. Submit them on that page. All of like my personal Facebook stuff. I talk to my friends on Facebook, and then like my Instagram, that's just straight for Dawa, and then I got two Instagram pages for my businesses. So don't reach out to me on those pages because I'm not on those all the time, and I don't prioritize talking to people I don't know on Messenger. So if you try to hit me on Messenger and you got a question or whatever, it might not go through. I got people that like in the message request for like a long list of people that had like asked questions, and that's going to be kind of hard to go through and try to get to. So go to the page, the True Aqidah of the Salaf, and you can submit your post, and myself and the admins will review it, and whichever one of us want to take up the question, then we'll do that. We'll do that like that. I've been meaning to say that for a little while. So yeah, that's it for the announcements. I love y'all for the sake of Allah. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله ولا إله إلا الله. I'm so nigga said, for the record, you do have 2 students under you. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. You gonna get that Sadaqah Jariyah, inshallah ta'ala. She said she got 2 students under her belt. Anthony Morel said Albani. He said Albanian question mark. Brother Anthony Morel, I don't know what you meant. Are you still there, Anthony Morel? Because if I can answer a question that you had real quick, I will. If you don't catch me, Anthony Morel, like I said, submit the question on the page submit it as a post, and the post will go through the filter, and we'll look at it, and inshallah ta'ala. Oh, he was saying Albani being the 4th. Okay, I see what he was saying. No. So Ibn Abdul Wahhab and Albani are at the top. Sufyan al-Andalusi said we need to have the 5 days occupied with one of the sciences. Hey man, listen, you preaching to the choir, Sufyan. I got like 6 admin that are very busy doing a law knows what. And alhamdulillah, I ain't gonna lie, this page became popular. It's like over 1,000 followers on this page. And this page became popular when I was 2 years ago when I was like battling with the Wahhabis. I just got tired of them. I just got tired of them. They were mad like when I got married. My wife, what y'all looking at? When I got married, my wife used to be a Wahhabi. Now she wasn't like a card carrying Wahhabi. She was a default Wahhabi. Like the guy that she married was a Wahhabi, a default Wahhabi, and her ex-husband. He's a default Wahhabi, and that was the only way that she learned the deen. She never heard of four schools and ulumul hadith. She ain't never heard of none of that. All she knew was them pamphlets, like all of them knew or whatnot. But another story for another day. But so this, alhamdulillah, this page became, decent, as far as the popularity. So we have a decent audience. We got to feed them. We got to feed them. I got some other brothers. The brothers from Masjid Uthman Danfodio. They work closely with us. We all used to be together, but we got different goals. So I'm still kind of focused on the Wahhabis. They ain't thinking about the Wahhabis. They already fought the wars like 20 years ago. But when they fought the wars, when Imam Khalil and Imam Abu Muhammad, when they fought in their younger years, the wars, it was in the Aqidah wars, what they call it. It was the Madhhab thing. They didn't have a lot of work built on the Madhhab. So they destroyed them as far as the Madhhab work. Now we got to fight them on the Aqidah. That's our battle with them in this generation. So, but we work closely with them. And Masjid Uthman Danfodio, there are actual masjid in Philly. There are actual masjid that is from the four schools and from the 2/3 three schools of Aqidah. If I'm not mistaken, they're the only one. I think the other one is Masjid Ash'ariyah. I haven't seen or heard of any of them in a while, in like a year. So I don't know if they're still going or not. But Masjid Uthman Danfodio, they Maliki, so they follow an authentic fiqh, and they're Ash'ari, and so they follow an authentic Aqidah, and they have a close friend who is a future Imam, inshallah ta'ala, Abu Isa. He's a Hanbali Athari, and the young brother is a scholar, mashallah ta'ala. He's a scholar. Very shy brother, though. Very, very, very shy brother. It's hard for us to get to nudge him to teach, because he's so focused on studying. Same difference like with the brother we have, my right hand man, Imam Nadir Abdullah. He's shy. He don't really like being on camera, and he's a computer as a brain. But yeah, Sufyan, man, that's what we're supposed to be doing. I got to put you in the chat group too. That was the idea, that 4, 5, or 6 of us everybody take up something. And every day there should be at least 1 hour dedicated. Now, I told the brothers and the sisters that's in the group, that's the admins, like we and look, I'm calling everybody out on my stream, but even if you're doing like dhikr, just turn the camera on and go live doing dhikr. People need to see what Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah is. All people have is the Salafi Minhaj. They like own the internet. Sufyan said, you need to fight them on Aqidah. I'll fight them on Tasawwuf. Say less. Say less. Let's get it. See how the guys, see how people just jump. These are my guys. See how these jump in. Boom. We was just talking about Ustaz Saleh. We just was talking about it. He jump in. Boom. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah. I know he busy working, whatever. He be working 3 shifts. He worked first, second, and third shifts, and still be managing to do, da'wah. Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen. But as soon as one of us hear that, boom, we hit the like button, we hit the share button, and, that way we creating our rotation. We creating our Ahlul Sunnah rotation. We don't support each other enough. Yeah, everybody be mad at everybody, and everybody don't like everybody sometimes. That's a given. That always happens. But at the end of the day, we all love each other, and man, that food is starting to smell good. Y'all ain't talking about nothing. That food, I can smell that food out here. I think she opened the window. She being funny. Okay, I'm gone. I love y'all for the sake of Allah. أقول قولنا هذا وأستغفر الله ولا إله إلا الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.